Microsoft Defender for Endpoint plus Intune. What are the things? So I have a lot of slides to cover. So some part of the slides I will go very quick, and probably we will have some time to discuss about if you have questions, we can discuss about that, right? So mainly we are going to discuss about how to integrate Microsoft Defender for Endpoint and Intune. Whether you if you are not able to see devices node in Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, what we can do about it, what is the onboarding process of clients, and what is the update mechanism, what is the version details is always confusing, in Microsoft Defender client side of things. Okay, and then we will quickly see some demos, etc. So let's get into it. What is Microsoft Defender? So I'm not going to explain this. What is Microsoft 365 Defender or Microsoft Defender for Endpoint? It is a security solution that provides the security to lot of components like endpoints, then identities, email and collaboration, apps and cloud apps, etc., etc. Okay, so we are really concentrating on endpoints here from a device management admin perspective. So that is the main topic over here. So these are the main usage of Defender for Endpoint or Microsoft Defender in whole as a product. It can help you to detect, prevent, investigate, and respond to any of the modern threats in your organization. Okay, let's go to the next slide. And in this slide, we will see where this Microsoft Defender is placed. Okay, and how it interacts with other components of Microsoft 365 and Azure, etc., etc. Right? You can see Microsoft Defender for Endpoint provides alerts, events, hunting, actions, reporting, and lot of things related to security. Probably most of us are not very familiar with all of these things, so don't worry about that. I just wanted to give a quick overview what Microsoft Defender for Endpoint can do. And this is more easy to understand in a cloud world because we can take the trial version of license and test it out, etc. So it is very easy to test these things. Okay, otherwise I would have never touched Microsoft Defender for Endpoint for my testing scenarios, etc. So if I can test it, I can do some R&D with Microsoft Defender for Endpoint. You all can do it. It is pretty straightforward. Okay, and the connectivity between Defender and Graph API and other automation components, etc. Machine learning is everywhere, right? And this is the another diagram which we wanted to quickly concentrate. So this is basically Intune connection or Intune integration between Defender for Endpoint, and there's a connectivity over here, integration, and Intune can help devices to get onboarded to Microsoft Defender. Right, once the device is managed by Intune, it is easy to deploy the onboarding policies through those clients from Intune. And then once that is done, that onboarding process is done, then you can manage those devices with the Defender. Okay, so we will see that in the coming slides and quickly in the demo as well. Okay, and it is interesting to see that there are different platform support available. Windows 11 is there, Linux is there, Mac OS is there. But to be honest with you, some other Windows is the first party support available for this Microsoft Defender for endpoint, but Android, iOS, Linux, Mac OS, they are working to improve the support and adding new features. So at the moment, we cannot compare my Windows 11 support and all the other device platform supports. Maybe some features are missing on other device platforms, etc. But Microsoft is quickly working to get all the features enabled on all the device platforms. Defender for Endpoint, Plan 1, Plan 2, these are the main licenses that I use for testing scenarios. As you can see over here, this is the P1 license and there's a P2 license also. P1 license, I think it is trial version is available for 90 days, and then P2 license is more than 90 days. Okay, but I have not tested this with P2 license web trial, but I tested this with P1 license. And we will cover other things related to license. I'm not a licensing expert, so I don't know exactly what is the difference between a Microsoft Defender for Business server license, because that is required for server management, right? That is this is only for the endpoints. Plan 1 and plan 2 are for endpoints, but the other, if you want to manage Microsoft Defend, I mean, manage servers with Microsoft Defender, Antivirus, and the solution, then you need business server license. Okay. So these are some of the other prerequisite if you want to test something like web content filtering, or if you want to use the cloud proxy of Microsoft Defender, etc. These are some of the prerequisite you need to look into. So anti-malware client licensing requirement, we have already checked this, and in some of the Microsoft documentation it is written something like this. Okay, so P1, P2, and some other licenses are included in some other licenses also. So it is so confusing for me. So I don't want to get into details of this. That is why I straightforward told you, like, I'm using plan 1 or plan 1 for the testing which I did. So if you want to test it, use the plan 1 trial version and continue the testing. And then for the licensing details, approach your licensing manager or licensing team or Microsoft contact for the license. They can provide you more details. Okay, so for web filtering and web indicators, I mean custom indicators in Defender, we will see what is web filtering and custom indicators, etc. in the coming slides. But you need to enable something called network protection. So this is a OS feature, Windows OS feature, and we need to enable it either using PowerShell command or using Intune policies, etc. And this is some configuration you need to enable from the Microsoft 365 Defender web console, I mean portal. So some of the tips or limitations at the moment with this Defender. Normally, I have seen, as per the documentation, it is 2 hour propagation delay for any policy changes. Now, for example, if you do a policy change in Microsoft 365 Defender portal, to reach that policy change, to get that policy change on the client end, we need at least 2 hours as per Microsoft documentation. But I have seen it happens within 1 hour sometimes, 40 to 50 minutes. There's a difference in Mac OS and Linux support. It is normally via this component, network protection component, and indicators are another web filtering option, which we'll see. Okay, that will block warning and blocking of some of the indicators will work only for Windows devices. The Mac device, it won't work for Mac devices, etc. So let's get into the details now. Initially, when I started using the Defender when I was trying to integrate Intune with Microsoft 365 Defender, this node was missing. Devices node, there's a device node, it is missing over here, right? So over here you would be able to see device node. This is after getting the license. So if you don't have the license, the device node will be missing. Okay, so you need to have the license first. I purchased a trial version P1 license, and after P1 license, after the purchase of P1 license, this node got appeared in Microsoft Defender portal. And another node also appeared, another section also appeared, that is endpoints section. And over there you would be able to see different configuration options, etc., etc. Okay, so if you don't have the license, then you would be able to log into security.microsoft.com. That is the Microsoft Defender URL, but you won't be able to see the Defender, I mean the devices node. Okay, so how to integrate Intune with SSCM, okay, with Microsoft Defender for endpoint. So this is the way to integrate. You have to go to endpoint security and you should have all the permissions, required permissions, admin permissions, etc., etc. Right? Then you can go to endpoint security and then go to Microsoft Defender for Endpoint setup section over here. You can see a setup section, and in that setup section, click on this, and you would be able to see what are the things you need to do to connect Microsoft Defender for Endpoint and Intune. Okay, so what you need to do, basically you need to log into security.microsoft.com, that is a Defender portal, and over there you need to enable one settings. Once that setting is enabled, it will automatically get connected with Intune. So after enabling that option, I will show what is that option in the demo, or probably it is not there in the slide. I will show that in the demo. Okay, and after that, after enabling that, you will see the connection status are available, and then you will get lot of options to enable some of the features, disable some of the features, some of the onboarding options. You will get all these things. You can do it from Intune then. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. In this slide, we will quickly cover the version details of Microsoft Defender Antivirus or Microsoft Defender client from the Windows devices or client side of things, right? So, and until this time we were talking about the server side of things. Now let's look into the client side of things. Let's understand what are the different client versions available for Microsoft Defender. If you go to Windows Security and if you go to About screen over here, settings, there would be a settings icon, something like this. You know the settings icon, right? You would be able to see a settings icon over there on the top, not top, bottom left corner of Windows Security, and over there you would be able to see a About screen. If you go over there, you would be able to see the version details. Anti-malware client version is there, engine version is there, antivirus version is there, anti-spyware version is there. Right? So there are a lot of versions. It is so much. It was so much confusing for me, right? So to understand this, because when I look at these updates, I wanted to know which update is happening where and which update is happening to which client version over here. There are different types of updates in Microsoft Defender scenario. Engine update is there, platform update is there, and then security intelligent update is there. Okay, so engine update happens every month, platform updates happens every month. These things we can control. Okay, depend similar to edge update or office update. We can control this using Intune if you want. Okay, and then security intelligent update is there. That is multiple times in a day. That update. That is basically the I don't know what is that called in the security world. It is kind of dat file update or something like that, right? So that happens multiple times in a day. So we will see what are these things in over here. How you can identify engine update, right? So probably engine update is the easiest one because you can see over here engine version. That is the engine update. 11.23 something something something, right? That is the engine version. And then if you look at platform update, where is the platform update? We'll see that. Okay, give me a sec. Let's go to the next slide. So over here also probably the Intune reports is going to help us. There's an Intune report for Microsoft Defender version. If you check that particular report, again, the same terminology is used over here, anti-malware version, and you can see anti-malware version over here also, right? That is 1.18, sorry, 4.1823 something, right? That is the anti-malware version, you can see. But you will come to know that is the platform version. So anti-malware client version is the platform version. So how do you find that out? If you go to Microsoft documentation and check the latest updated platform version number, you can find it is in this 4.18 series. Okay, so that anti-malware version is the platform version and engine version is direct. So thank you Microsoft for directly putting the name over there, not confusing us. Okay, and the signature version up, get updates multiple times in a day. Okay, so that is the signature version. So where is the signature version over here in this client, on the client? So again you need to take a help of version series. Okay, it is 1.391. So which is 1.391 over here? So this is antivirus version or anti-spyware version. That is the signature version. Okay, you can see 2141 is the latest update. You can see 2141 over here also. That is the signature version. That will change every day or multiple times in a day. Okay, so where you can download these signature files, maybe we'll come to that in a bit. So you know what is it exactly? At least you will understand what is the platform version now, what is the signature version now, and where to check that in the client. Now let's go to the Defender update scenario. I mentioned there are two types of update. I mean, three types of updates: platform engine updates, and those are monthly updates, and signature update. So signature update is multiple times in a day. So there are different types of options to select in the updates. If you want, you can go with beta version of updates. For example, this is basically for insiders, and then you can go with preview version, and then staged and not configured. Not configured is the best option as per Microsoft, because as if you look at the documentation over here, you can see the gradual release cycle. So that means not configured, if you are not configuring this, that means you are asking Microsoft to gradually deploy the update platform and engine update, which are monthly updates, to all your devices according to the telemetry or cloud intelligence that they use for this particular deployment. Okay, so that is very useful in some scenarios, but we know most of our organizations, they don't like to use the granular way. Maybe we should have some of the devices in preview for the pre-production testing. So preview should be used, the preview one, the second one over here, preview should be used, and then there should be something in production, pilot, something pilot deployment. So that would be 10 percentage of your devices as per Microsoft documentation. But it is up to you and your organizations to decide what is the percentage you want to go. And then broad deployment is normally 100 percentage. That is where the production deployment comes in. Otherwise you can go with not configured if you are fully trusting Microsoft deployment scenarios, which uh, most of the organization are a bit reluctant sometimes. Maybe for antivirus, etc., maybe it's fine, but I have seen a bug yesterday, and Microsoft was asking to revert to the previous version of the client to avoid that getting into that bug, etc. So it is an organizational decision you need to follow. Okay, now I'm just checking the time. Okay, now I have to finish it quickly. So, signature updates. If you want to test signature updates, you can directly download it from this website. So, this is the website where you can download the Defender updates, signature updates that happens multiple times in a day. Right? If you want to get that, you can use this link. Okay, and then onboarding process. So there are different types of onboarding scenarios, as you can see over here in the documentation for Windows and other device platforms also, and we are concentrating on Microsoft Intune scenario over here. So now we have connected Intune and Microsoft for endpoint. Now we need to enable the management of, or we need to onboard those Intune managed devices using Defender, or into Defender, right? So that is the process we are going to do. We are going to follow, and there's a template available in Intune. If you go to endpoint security, and if you select endpoints detection and response profile in the template under endpoint security, right, then you would be able to see these options. There are three options, but I'm going to suggest to select only two options or configure only two options, because this is already deprecated option. Okay, so auto from connector, that is the default option I would suggest, but again there are different options available. Simple sharing, you can configure the again the best option for your organization, etc. Okay, that was onboarding. Once onboarded, then you would be able to see all the device properties, all the device details, a risk score, etc. in the Defender portal. Okay, and then this is the place where we can enable the network protection. This is required for some of the web filtering scenarios, as I explained previously. So this also there's a template available. So you can go to Microsoft Defender antivirus profile, and you can enable the different types of network protection policies. The one which we are going to configure for the Windows 11, Windows 10 client is bit different than the server one. Okay, so but for the server one also we have network protection policies, and this down level, I mean protection enablement policy. So down level is only for 2012 and 2016 servers, I think, right? So we don't require to have this particular policy, but this is added newly into Intune recently, I mean last month, I think. Okay, baseline templates. I don't recommend to use this baseline template at this point of time. It can help you to understand what are the types of policies available, etc., in the baseline, and as per the Microsoft recommended, as per the Microsoft recommendation. But it is why I'm saying it is not recommended. I'm not recommending to use it because it is pretty old. The template released in 2020 or 2021, so the policies are old in that. But what you can do is you can refer to each section of these policies and understand, okay, these are the things you need to configure, okay, these are the things I need to configure to cover all the policies in Microsoft Defender, etc., etc., firewall policies, Defender antivirus policies, smart screen policy for Edge, BitLocker, etc., etc. Okay, so that from that perspective, it is useful. And then this is the quick walkthrough. Once the device is onboarded, we can see, okay, this device secure score is this, and 85% of the devices non-complaint, etc. And what are the CVE fixes you need to do for some of the devices, etc. So that is very important to understand. And Defender reports, we have already covered in the version. We have a very detailed Defender updates reports in Intune, so we can use that. Also, there are up reports available in Defender Portal. So you need to use the combination of both to get the best out of the reports, right? So that is what my experience is. Now, always on the client side, if you want to troubleshoot something, there are two things which you need to quickly understand. One is this particular PowerShell command or PowerShell commandlet. So this is the PowerShell commandlet which is going to give you a lot of information about Microsoft Defender components on the client side. Enable. So this is another thing which you can check. If you want to check whether the network protection policy is enabled or not, you can check this out, right? And then the second part of the troubleshooting that you can do is probably event logs. There's a Windows Defender event log under applications and services. If you go to Microsoft Windows, etc., you will be able to see event logs over there. So that is also sometimes useful. Not always, I would say, but I have not spent months and months of time analyzing the event logs. So it depends, right? Or you can use a lot of things such as sensors or KQL queries, etc., etc., from the server side to assess the details and troubleshoot issues, etc. Okay. Oh, I have done with the presentation. Now let's go to the demo over here, and I think this is the connection. Okay, so this is the connection where you can see this connection status is available. This is the integration between Intune and Defender for Endpoint. So, and over here you would be able to see different options. Security profile settings allow Microsoft Defender for Endpoint to enforce endpoint security configurations. Yes, okay, that you need to switch on that. And then Android version, iOS version, etc., etc. I have not tested those, so I have not enabled those at the moment. But let's concentrate on Windows for first time, right? And then I promised you in the during the slide, I will show you where is this option. in Defender portal. So what I'm going to do, if okay, so this is the place where you want to go into. So this is the Defender portal, that is Microsoft security.microsoft.com, as you can see over here, security.microsoft.com. And then if you scroll down a bit on the left side screen, then you would be able to see something like, okay, settings over here. Hopefully you can see my screen clearly. Settings over here, and then under settings, if you go to endpoints, okay, settings, let's go to settings then. Okay, endpoints. In endpoints, you would be able to, if you click on endpoints, you would be able to see that connection settings under advanced features. Okay, go to advanced features, click on that, and again you need to scroll down a bit over here on this side. Okay, initially it would be a bit messy, this portal, but after some time, or probably after spending 2 hours, it will be fine if you are new to Defender. Okay, so what you can do is, you can go scroll down a bit more, and probably I have already passed Intune. That is what I normally do. Okay, so this is the Intune part which you need to enable. So slide this option from off to on, and it should be on. Then you would be able to see the connection as available over here. So this is the configuration from the Defender portal. I mean, from the Defender portal to integrate with Intune. That is the only thing you need to do. You need to have license, of course. Otherwise, as I mentioned, this Defender, I mean, this devices node won't be there, and endpoint section won't be there. So to get this enabled or visible, you need to have P2 or P1 licenses. We have a P1 license. So over here you would be able to see I have Microsoft Defender for Endpoint P1 license, and I have assigned it to the test user, and I'm doing all the testing on this particular with this particular user with the P1 license. Okay, and then you have to enable some of the other policies from advanced features. Advanced features is very important in Defender world or portal, I would say. One is web filtering. If you want to enable the cloud policy, I mean Microsoft Cloud Proxy, or web filtering, you need to enable this option. Okay, and then there is something called indicators. Okay, if the proxy category is not up to the mark, as per your experience, and if you want to disable the chat GPT or something, then you need to use indicators. And in indicators, you would be able to configure different settings. I'm sorry, different settings. Okay, like you can block the URLs, or you can block the domain itself, etc., etc. If you go over here, indicators, you would be able to set that option. First, you need to enable that option from the advanced settings, and then you can configure different domains or chat GPT, for example, over here. And for cloud proxy, Microsoft Cloud Proxy kind of a scenario, if you want to filter based on some of the configurations, for example, gambling, nudity, etc., etc., you can stop it, right? And you can edit it and add more blocked categories if you want. For example, high bandwidth or social media, you can use all these categories to block the network traffic or proxy from your organization, right? So that is another option. Web content filtering, that is cloud proxy. And chat GPT kind of thing, custom kind of a block, you can do it from indicators. Okay, so these are the two things I quickly wanted to share. Okay, now let's go to one of the device and quickly see what is the details I can see in the device. That is very interesting. So if I can open that, so you can see on the left side, you would be able to see different things like OS version and um, name, etc. So let's try to create more space. Okay, IP address, last seen updates, etc., etc., the basic things. And then on the right side you would be able to see device versions, quick scan when it is completed, etc. And then incidents, alerts, timeline. You can see timeline options, and you would be able to see what happened on this particular timeline, etc. And the security recommendations you can see over here. What are the security recommendation? I need to update the Chromium based Edge browser. All those things it will come. And the software inventory part is interesting. Okay, software inventory you can get from, maybe it is a wrong word, or this portal is using the correct word. In Tune also you will have some application inventory, etc. But this software inventory, it is interesting. And as an Intune admin, it is always interesting to see software inventory under Defender, and you can see some additional threads, etc. over here. And all these things, it would be very nice if you get all these information in Intune, also in Intune portal, rather than coming to Microsoft Defender portal, etc. So maybe, I don't know, we'll see what is future, right? So this is also interesting. Discovered vulnerabilities. What are the discovered vulnerabilities available for this particular device? What are the things I need to fix? Okay, so this is very very important information for us, and very useful information. Okay, so and then you can see other features, missing KB articles, advanced features, etc. If you are onboarded to Microsoft Defender for Endpoint. Okay, so you need additional license for that, etc. So let's quickly go into one of the policies, maybe antivirus policy, and create a policy to show you some of the stuff, right? So I have these two options are sometimes confusing. This is for Windows Server as well, but it is available for Windows 11 as well. So some of the profiles, some of the things you need to use this first profile, I mean first platform, and the some other stuff you need to use the second platform option from the drop down. Okay, it is all under endpoint security. If you select Windows 10 or later, you will get the to controlled update scenario. Okay, you can, we discussed about monthly updates of, I mean Defender, that is platform, and then engine updates. So you can control that kind of updates from here. Okay, if you select that, you will be able to see different kinds of channels, as we have seen in the slides. Okay, so that is the control, I mean this particular template. Okay, the other template, which includes servers. Okay, so let's select that, and over here you would be able to see exclusion option, antivirus option, security experience options, right? And if you create antivirus option, so this is interesting again. You would be able to see different options over here. See, different options are available. Network option is one of the thing over here. Okay, so network protection, right? Network protection, let me, so this is the option to enable the network protection, and it should be enabled with block mode. Then only the PowerShell screen you have seen, right? Over there you see a digit called 1, right? So if it is enabled block, then only the Microsoft Defender will support some of the web filtering rules or proxy rules, etc., etc. Okay, so that was it. And then quickly, I wanted to share one more thing if I could. No, it's okay. I think, yeah, I think we are fine. I don't want to bombard you with lot of information. I have already provided lot of information. So let me think whether I'm missing something over here or over here. Yeah, and there are some filtering reports as well. So for example, reports are also interesting in Microsoft 365 Defender. If you go down under reports, okay, click on reports, you will see different categories of reports. Okay, if it is coming up. Okay, and endpoint is the main thing which I am concentrating on. And then you will get threat protection reports, device health reports, vulnerability reports, web protection report. I'm going to click on web protection reports to check what does the proxy server doing, what does the thing over there having. Right, I can see custom indicator which we have set up chat gpt, we have set up something for blocking chat gpt, so that is what it is showing over here. And then two attempts access to malicious urls, so that is something again, that is the custom indicators showing over there. So I try to access chat gpt and it shows over here, okay, this particular device is trying to access. If you go to details, you would be able to see which are from which device this alert got triggered, etc., right? So you can track down that. And then if you go to web request, this is the proxy part, cloud proxy part thing. Over here you would be able to see, okay, somebody tried to access adult content from one particular device. That is that is the test I did, right? Probably I tried to go to gambling site, etc., and to for the testing purpose, and then see whether the it is blocked or not. All these kind of reports are available here. And if you go to details, you would be able to see, oh, okay, gambling is the session which somebody used. And you would be able to see which site it is used and which is the device, right? All those details you would be able to see. So from today onwards, you are a security engineer as well and as a proxy engineer as well. So that is the advantage of cloud. Okay, so as I mentioned, otherwise I would have never tried this in my lab, or I would have never installed a proxy server or tried something, etc., etc., right? Now I wanted to quickly show you the client side of things, right? So over here you can see the command which I run of to understand whether the network protection is enabled or not, right? So this is one thing you can check. And then if I open up some of the gambling.com, right, that particular site, you can see, okay, there's something, the content is blocked and you won't be able to access it because your organization is restricting from that. So in Chrome browser or any other kind of browser like Opera or Brave, you see a different message, right? Something like this site cannot provide say a secure connection, etc. So this was about web filtering option, etc. So if I quickly go to settings and then Windows security, maybe if I can go there, Windows security, the security settings, or Windows security, wrong place. Okay, let's check Windows security. Okay, so this is the security screen which you can see. And if you go to settings icon over here, you can go to about, and under about you would be able to see all the details like client versions, etc., etc. So this is what we have explained. There are different client versions available, and you need to kind of understand what is happening with this client version. What is the difference between engine version, platform version, signature version, etc., etc. So I think I'm overrunning. I think so. I'm going to stop here.